My name is Julie Arts. I'm an author, editor, and book coach, and I help writers who dream of a life spent telling stories that matter slay their doubt demons so that they can send their work out into the world with confidence. Today, I'm here to talk about how you can set up your manuscript's structure in Scrivener. So if you're ready for some Scrivener tips, hang on, here it comes. What we're going to talk about is how I build the structure of a new manuscript right into my Scrivener project using the binder over on the left-hand side. So you'll see this nice color coding here, and I use this to reflect the 4-act structure that I use from Larry Brooks's Story Engineering. Now, if you use 3-act structure, 5-act structure, or something totally different, you can still use this technique and just change the color coding to fit the structure that you're using. But I'm going to show you how to do it in Scrivener, and then you can apply whatever structure works best for you. Okay, so if you come over to the lower right-hand side, and this is just a reminder, I'm using a Mac. If yours looks a little different because you're in Windows, you should still be able to do this. You might just need to use the help system a little bit to find out where things are located. Okay, we've got what are called labels in Scrivener, and they come with a default set of options, but I use them to reflect the 4-act structure. So you'll see here, you can use the plus and minus. You can use the minus to remove the ones that come with the standard Scrivener template, and the plus to create one of your own. So you're just going to click that little plus. You'll see that if I wanted to change this to 5-act structure, I would just type in Act 5. Here we go. And there's a color assigned. If you want to change the color, you can just double click. You can pick a color that we haven't already used. So I'll pick red. And because I like things to be in order, I'll move it down to the bottom. Okay, so you'll see my 4-act structure here. I have Act 1. Something has happened that has left the main character unmoored. That's the orphan. Then they're going to wander around in Act 2 and try to address their problem. In Act 3, they're going to have finally learned enough in Acts 1 and Acts 2 to pick up the hero's mantle and really try to solve their problem. And in Act 4, they're going to make the choice that they're willing to either literally or metaphorically give up everything and die for their cause. So that's a really quick 30-second introduction to 4-act structure. If you want to learn more, either come talk to me or check out Larry Brooks' Story Engineering, which is a great overview of how you can mesh plot and character together using the 4-act structure. Anyhow, set up your labels. We're going to click OK. You'll see that I created a folder for each part, for each act, Act 1, 2, 3, and 4. Could go ahead and add one for Act 5 here. And if I want to assign the color coding so that it'll show up in this binder, I'm just going to right click and I'm going to go down to label. And then you'll notice here in the dropdown that you see the 5 acts that we created just a minute ago. So I'm going to select my 5-act structure color of red, and then I've got the color coding going. And then when you add your chapters, and when you add the scenes below it, you'll want to label those as well. Okay, so you might be following along at home and doing this. And wait a minute, Julie, the colors aren't showing up for me. Okay, don't panic. All right, so you've assigned all your labels, but you don't see the pretty colors. What's going on? Okay, that's when you go to View, Use Label Colors in Binder, and voila, you've got the colors going on here. And you'll see that I've got them assigned all the way down so that I'm always very clear where I am in my story. And if I'm writing out of order, which I often do, I know right where to put it. Okay, I know this needs to happen at the end. I'm going to go into part 5 and I'm going to put something in the end. I know that I need to add this scene in the beginning. I can add my placeholder up here. Now, remember how I said that you could also view this in the corkboard? I'm going to go to the corkboard here, and you can see my chapters here. And I'll show you something else. See how it says chapter 1, once upon a time, every day XYZ happened until one day, inciting incident. This is another little structure tip that I've learned. I really like to use classic fairy tale structure, in part because I write speculative, but also just because it's very familiar both to myself and my clients, that fairy tale structure. Once upon a time, I was going along living my life until this one big awful thing happened. And then I did fun and games to try to resolve it until I took up the hero's mantle. And then, of course, we know I lived happily ever after. So you can build all of that right into Scrivener as well, not just with the color coding, but with the actual names of your folders in the binder as well. So you'll see here that I've got once upon a time, every day XYZ happened until one day. Because of that, fun and games. Because of that, fun and games. Because of that, fun and games. Then midpoint reflection until finally, and ever since that day, I've lived happily ever after. So the content of these individual things is not as important as the tool itself. If you're using the heroine's journey, if you're using the Virgin's promise, if you're using a spiral structure or doing a memoir that's in an E structure or some sort of braid, you can still use this color coding just to give yourself a visual reminder as you're editing your book that this is how, where I am in the story, this is where I'm going, this is the type of writing I should be doing in this section of the book. So it's a really powerful tool if you're visual to give yourself a color-coded reminder of what you should be doing with your character arc and your story structure. I hope you found this video helpful and that you're going to go back and flesh out your Scrivener file so that it uses labels to reinforce your novel's structure. And if you want to learn more about that fairy tale structure and how you can use it in outlining your book, you'll want to go to my website, juliearts.com, and check out my tentpole scenes outline. That link's also in the show notes, so check it out. Thanks so much.